Tiger fans, welcome to episode 278 of the official Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club podcast, bringing you all the latest news, updates, and buzz surrounding your mighty JSU Tigers. I am the Corey C. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast to be notified of all future episodes. Apple Podcasts and Spotify video users rate and review the show. And everyone go follow Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club on Facebook and Tiger Talk 1400 on Instagram and Twitter. It all helps the cause, which is the I love Jackson State University. We are back with another special guest as we prepare to head to Jacksonville, Florida to take on the Bethune Cookman Wildcats. He is no stranger to the show. Whenever we play Bethune Cookman, he's willing to come on and tell us all about the Wildcats. He is the host of the Terry Sims Show, the voice of BCU Sports, and he's also the sports director for WELE 1380 and the Cat 101.5 FM, none other than Mr. Harold Ford. Welcome back to Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club.
Man, I feel privileged today to chop it up with you, man.
No, the privilege is all mine. Trust me. We are here with the man himself. always special when we hear that voice. We know what time it is. Yes, sir. Well, first and foremost, I have to just check in with you, make sure you're okay. I know obviously with the weather going on and with the weather storms coming through Florida, I just want to make sure that you're okay and the team and the family and everything, everybody's doing okay.
Well, first of all, I want to say, thank God that we're still here, and it's a good thing. The team has been moving around since the Ian left us here. It left us with a bunch of flood water, and BCU got hit pretty hard. But the team itself exited, and they traveled to Tennessee, Chattanooga first, and then they moved on to Nashville, where they've been for the past week. And after playing Tennessee State, they're now in Jacksonville. So the university is not ready for a return for the football team, but we've got exceptional hospitality all around the country for where the team has had to be for the last 2 weeks almost.
Wow.
This team has been on the road. They have not been in Daytona Beach. So we want to thank all those who have helped us out, because it's truly been a blessing for these young men, because they have to have some normalcy as they are separated from their families. So I think Coach Sims has done a marvelous job, and our university executives should be congratulated also, because they've done their part to make sure that these young men are safe.
Wow. Talk about the adversity that they're facing. And, with this game being this weekend, they're in Jacksonville in Florida. Will they finally be able to return home to Daytona Beach after this game?
That's where we get the big question mark. The school is supposed to reopen Monday, but will dorms be ready? Will the athletic department's part be ready to go? We suffered some damage in certain parts of the athletic facilities, so we don't know exactly yet, but I'm sure we'll know immediately after the game whether they will stay in Jacksonville or they will come home.
Wow, I know they can't. Yeah. I know
sure
they can't wait to return to some normalcy, and I could just imagine having to play football and figure it out while you're displaced and being on the road and living in a hotel. I know that's probably fun at first, but it can get old after a while. So kudos to those guys for pushing through and fighting through. I know Coach Sims won't make any excuses, but it is what it is. And when you're because our team, we arrived at our game against Alabama State. The team arrived a little bit late. I arrived about an hour before the game, and it threw off their entire routine. They were rushing. It came out sluggish, and it showed. But, hey, like I said, it is what it is. So, in your opinion, how would you say that has affected the team's performance?
I don't think it's affected their performance. Game day is all about timing, according to Coach Sims. And when you talk to him, it's all about staying on track. And he's tried to keep this team on track, getting the games on time, even with practices, even though they were away from home, they had to practice in a different facility. They had to go to a different weight room, practice in a different facility. They had to eat in a different cafeteria. So the adjustments have been made, and they've been made graciously. I have to admit that the team itself, they may be a little tired of going here and there, but they too have just played football and practiced football and done what they've done. And I think Coach Sim and his staff should be commended for that.
Right. So the team right now probably not where it wants to be, 1-4 on the season, but 1-1 in the SWAC, a long SWAC season ahead. So they're still obviously in the mix, but a disappointing 41-17 loss to Tennessee State. So let's start there and kind of talk about that game. Give us a recap.
Well, we went into the game, we scored first. And the one thing that Coach Sims always wants to do, He wants to start fast.
Mm.
The problem is that we started fast. We got a field goal in the first quarter, but after that, everything went downhill. Where it went wrong, the score tells the story. It just went straight downhill. We didn't execute in all three phases of the game. As you know, Coach Sims is blatant about that. You know, if we don't execute on the offensive end, the defensive end, and special teams, we cannot win. And I just don't think we didn't. I'm not gonna say we didn't show up, but we just didn't have it. And we just didn't have it. It didn't look like a Bethune Cookman football Wildcat football team
Wow.
in this game. So we've taken that to lump. But one thing that Coach Sims said to me this week, we'll go back to the drawing board again. And that's the one thing about him. He is a staunch believer. He will never, when I tell you never give up, never give up. So he's going back to the drawing board. We will show up in Jacksonville, Florida, which they're already there. And I'm sure that he'll have his game plan. As he told me, he never tells me. This is one thing I try to get it out of him every week. What's the game plan? He says, that's not for you to know. That's for me to know. And you to find out.
Right. He doesn't want you telling guys like me, so I get it.
Right. Especially playing y'all, right?
No doubt. So when you talk about going back to the drawing board, obviously some things to correct, but there are also some positives to build on. We'll get to those things that you guys probably need to correct. But what would you say? Let's start with those bright spots for the team. What would you say are some areas of optimism and probably the strengths of the team right now?
Quarterback position, Jalen Jones, one we got from y'all from Texas State. He's brought a different light to the quarterback position. He has. He's a dual threat. He can go. He has go on his side. It's written on the back of his jersey. Go. If there is a lane for him to go, Jalen's going to go. You can't. We have and I say this only because I've seen him, but D's is the best return man in the SWAC. There's no doubt about that. We have some positives about when it comes to our special teams. Our defense, it is good. We haven't played like we should. And I think those are some bright spots that we have there on special teams. The run game, we're still working on that. We're working on that. And I think Coach Sims, we have a new offensive coordinator, and Mike Canales. And I think he's working with this team very well. But the bright spot to me is Jalen Jones. He has brought a new life to the quarterback position. And he's figuring it out with a new OC. You always got to figure out some things.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, we're very familiar with Jalen Jones. We had him for a season, had him for a spring, started some games for us, won some games.
Y'all loaning him to us. Thank you.
Well, you can tell the junior college that he went to, so we won't take full credit. He went to junior college first, so I guess that was his previous stop. But I mean, we're looking forward to facing him. I'm sure I know he's looking forward to it. Still a lot of friends on the team. They still in communication. They still talk. So I know it's going to be a great time for him. A couple of other familiar names for our Jackson State fans as well. Corey Reed, a former wide receiver, he's on the team. So definitely be a nice, nice kind of homecoming we'll be in Jacksonville, but a homecoming in terms of, some old familiar faces. So looking forward to that. But one name you didn't mention, this is a guy who, one of the top HBCU NFL prospects in the country heading into this season. He's your tight end, Kamari Everett. I mean, he is a matchup nightmare. He ranks 4th in the conference in receiving yards. But would you say this season so far has gone how he would have hoped it would go?
No, not for Kamari. No way, no how. He's a beast. And for him, I don't think the season has been what he wants it to be. I think he showed up and played every game because that's the kind of player he is. He's going to play every game, every down. I think we need to get the ball to him a little bit more, but that's on the Coach Sims decisions there. I think he needs to get the ball in his hands a little more, but you've been running into double teams all season long. If you look at the film, there's always 2 people sitting waiting out there on him. And I think that Kamari he will have a breakthrough. Hopefully he will have that breakthrough this week. I'm praying about that. But, I think but Kamari Everett is a beast, man. And I just think we have not seen the full goodness of Kamari Everett yet.
I would agree. Well, when you obviously going to be looking for someone to kind of pick up the slack for him. As I watch this team and kind of look at the numbers, I see a Dylan Lee kind of stepping in.
Dylan Lee has been very good. Mm-hmm.
He's the guy?
He's the guy. He's the guy. Dylan has stepped up as a receiver, and I think that Quayshawn Bird is going to
Yeah.
sooner or later break through. Quayshawn is a miraculous runner. He finds the holes very, very quickly, and we're looking for him to have a breakthrough. And when he does, this team turns around because we can get our run game going. Oh, and that opens up the pass, and that will open it up for Kamari. So I think we're looking to find ways to, if you've watched us in the last couple of weeks, we have thrown the ball a lot more than we usually have, especially with Jalen. We've thrown the ball. I mean, we're averaging maybe 200 and 300 and some odd total yards per game. 277 of those yards are in the air,
Okay.
which is good for us. We just haven't put the ball in the end zone as much as we should have.
And you talk about getting Quayshawn Bird going as far as the running game. Earlier, you mentioned some of the offensive line woes that's probably contributing to the lack of the running attack, the production there that you would probably like. So, what would you attribute that to? Is it just a young unit? Would it be injuries, or just a matter of them just gelling and putting it together?
I think a combination of both youth and gelling. They have not been together a long time. They're probably seeing things that they've never seen before when it comes to SWAC defenses.
Okay.
And I think that they are just gelling and putting it together. Coach Sims says that they need to work together, excuse me, as an offensive line. And he says he's really working on that part. So I think you may see a difference maybe this week. Hopefully we will.
Right. So let's switch over to the defensive side of the ball. The Bethune has struggled at times stopping the opposition, at least since our SWAC play started.
Yes.
Currently ranked 11th in the SWAC in total defense, giving up 460 yards per game, and they've only managed 2 sacks in their 2 SWAC games this season. So I know that doesn't sit well with Coach Terry Sims, who's a defensive guy. So talk about the struggles on defense this season and what it'll take to turn things around.
We're giving up too many penalties. Let's just be honest about it. We have been penalty woed. A young group, new DC, who's doing a tremendous job, but they haven't gelled. They just have not gelled at this point. Now they have had some good goal line stances. They've had some great plays against Grambling. They showed up, and we saw some light that we possibly have a good defense because they stopped Grambling at a certain time, and we all know Grambling had a pretty decent offense. They can put points on the board if they have to, but they stopped them. So we saw the light there, but we have not seen it since. So I think the defensive unit is going to work very hard this week, and we know who we're playing this week. So we got to show up somehow, some way. We know who we're playing.
Right. And you talk about those penalties. When I look at the number, I had to do a double take and make sure that it was correct because I'm seeing 99.5 yards per game in penalties, at least in our SWAC play. I don't know if I've ever seen that. And we know penalties are drive killers for the offense and drive extenders for the opposition. So I'd imagine they usually come at the most inopportune time. So talk about how that's kind of affected you and how deflating that's potentially been for the team.
Coach Sims just says it this way, and this is what he says. They happen at the wrong time.
But there's never going to be the right time now. Let me put that out there.
But for him, it happens at the wrong time. You're down in the red zone. You have an opportunity to score. You have an offside penalty. Your defensive player getting in somebody else's face, personal foul penalties. Those are the type of penalties that we've had that have cost us when we have a chance to maybe tie up the game, maybe score. Unnecessary penalties is what's happened to us, and we've got to stop it. We have to stop it, and I don't, that's something they're going to have to work on inside. I cannot tell you what he's going to do about it, but I know he's mentioned it, and he's not happy about it at all when it comes to penalties.
Right, definitely. And going back over to the defense, who are some guys that are going to have to step up in order for you guys to turn it around? I would imagine got like an Amari Hill Robinson, who's kind of like that leader on defense, has a couple interceptions,
he is our leader.
Multiple games.
He is our leader. Amari Hill Robinson is our leader. There is, I look at him as a potential NFL draft lottery pick because he's a great corner, and he's back there in the back. I think we got some defensive line. We have youth on the defensive line that is very good, but at this point, I just can't pick one person out. Our linebackers are good, but Amari Hill Robinson is the leader of our defense, so we're dependent on him.
Right. And then I've noticed some concerns on special teams as well. I know it was a field goal blocked versus Tennessee, and then 2 bobbled punts. One was returned for a touchdown, and right now only averaging 31 yards per punt, which is 11th in the SWAC. So, is that something that has consistently plagued the team, or that was just more of a one-off against Tennessee State?
No, that's can plague the team all season from game one. We have to do better, especially on special teams. Now we have a new special teams coach. Coach McCoy has done a wonderful job of special teams. He has. He's coaching up there, but I think special teams is another work. We're very young. People don't realize we are very, very young. We lost a lot of people last year. And we have a lot of guys whose names that even I, when they pop up, don't even know. But these are young guys. We have a bunch of freshmen, sophomores. And I think with all this new staff that we have now, we have a lot of people don't realize we have a new OC, new defensive coordinator, and a new special teams coach. It takes time to gel. And I think that that's what's happening right now with them. I do want to mention one guy on defense, Corey Murray Jones. He's done his job this year. In 5 games, he's had 13 tackles. And our defense is not as bad as it looks. We have just not won with our defense. And that's where I'm going to leave that one.
So, of course, the game will be played in Jacksonville, as we've said, at the Jaguar Stadium. Now, this is a Bethune-Cookman home game, but the decision was made to move it to Duval. And it was a hot topic of discussion in the media. I know you saw it, right?
I can tell you why. And that's what you want to know, right?
Well,
why was this game moved?
I'm an Orlando guy. I know about this thing called Biketoberfest for one.
There you go. That's all I'm saying.
We know. Don't even dare go near Daytona Beach during Biketoberfest, but go ahead. If you want to discuss that, talk about it.
You know, being a Florida man, you know that you can't have a football game in Daytona Beach and Biketoberfest going on at the same time. It does not work because we're out here on LPGA, and a lot of people thought, well, they didn't want to come to the stadium. No, that was not it. It's because there are another 100,000 people that will be in Daytona Beach, and it just would not work. And it was a heck of a conversation. People were throwing all kinds of jabs about, well, they moved the game because they want our crowd. You know, they thinking, you know, the Jackson State crowd. The Jackson State crowd was going to show up anyway. I don't care if we had it in Daytona Beach. They were coming because they support their Tigers. And we moved it to TIAA Bank Stadium. And I think it was a great move for both teams. I really do. I can't really say how y'all feel about it, but for us, we're happy about it. And you should see a lot of Wildcats in the stadium this Saturday.
Yeah. You know, Coach Prime wasn't pleased. He expressed that during the SWAC Media Day. And your athletics director, the former NBA great, NBA All-Star, and basketball coach, Mr. Reggie Theus, he kind of responded as well. So I think it was, it was cool to kind of see the back and forth. Hopefully it won't go too far. We've seen how it can kind of go too far. Right? So I don't think it'll go too far.
Leave that one alone.
Exactly. I don't think it'll go too far with those two. But Jackson State fans, I can attest, and Mike B as well. I-4, I-95 during October Bike Week and Bike Fest. Yeah, we avoided it all.
I will see this for the Jackson State fans. Y'all gonna get some good crabs while y'all in Duval. Okay. Y'all make sure y'all go to 7th Avenue to the main street. Oh, there's 7 Seas Crab. I'm gonna give you the places to go. Okay, go to 7 Seas and get you some good crabs while you're there. All right.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. So, last thing, just based on what you know about this team and Coach Sims, the adversity, big game, obviously, be on ESPN. And I know the answer, but I just want you to kind of express it. Will this team be ready to play?
Yeah, no doubt. Coach Terry Sims' team will never not play. That's not the way he works. He will tell you right now, we will show up and we will play. You may see some different things. One thing I do know, and I can't say it, but he told me this, is that he always has a different game plan for everybody. And you may see some different looks because we're going to play to win. As the old saying says, you play to win the game. So Bethune Cookman will show up, and we will play to win the game this Saturday. And we know who we're playing, but we will show up.
Absolutely.
And hopefully we might win.
All right. We'll just have to see.
I just have to see. You know how that goes. We know, like I said, we know who we're playing. We're the best team on offense, best team on defense. I just want to say this: the scary thing that I see about the Jackson State team is not the offense; it's the defense.
I agree.
It's
100%.
At 9.7 points per game, I'd have to tell you, the defense is scarier than the offense.
Much scarier. You never know what you're going to get from any offense, right? But that defense is going to travel. So the defense will be in Jacksonville. But, Mr. Harold Ford says, so will Bethune-Cookman. They will show up. So
we're going to show up and hail Wildcats. I thank you for letting me say that on the Corey C Show.
No, I thank you for coming on. It's our pleasure, man. When we hear the voice, we already know what time it is. So always look forward to this time of year. Looking forward to seeing you in Jacksonville. Definitely safe travels. Our prayers are with the entire Bethune-Cookman family. We definitely want to see you get through that situation and get back home. So good luck with everything.
Much love to you, Corey.
Same here. You bet. Take care.
All right.
And that'll do it for this episode of Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club. Thank you to all of our listeners. And again, be sure to subscribe to the podcast. Apple Podcasts and Spotify video users, rate and review the show. And everyone, go follow Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club on Facebook and Tiger Talk 1400 on Instagram and Twitter. We're looking to do some big things with this platform to aid the athletics department. And it all starts with you downloading, subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show. And tell every Tiger that you know. We're on all podcast outlets. Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, Spotify Video, YouTube, and so on. And we'll be posting each episode on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages. As always, thanks for your support. Go Tigers. #I believe. #the I love.